Is a debt collector making your life miserable with constant calls and threats? You don't have to put up with it. In this video, we're explaining the law that protects you from debt collector harassment. We'll also show you how to stand up to unfair debt collector practices. I'm Ben, and I work with the nonprofit Upsolve. We help people get out of debt and take control of their financial futures. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Now let's get into it. If you're on the path to becoming debt-free, you may have to deal with debt collectors along the way. But that doesn't mean that you have to tolerate bad behavior. In fact, there's a federal law that provides several protections and rights to people facing debt collectors. It's called the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act, or the FDCPA for short. Here's some of your key rights under this law. If a debt collector is contacting you, you have a right to be informed about the details of that debt. This means the debt collector has to give you details about that debt, including the name of the company that you owe the debt to and how much they think you owe. By law, this information should come in the form of a written notification from the debt collector that they send you within 5 days of first contacting you. This notice is usually called a debt validation letter. That written notice must also tell you how to dispute the debt. Next up, the FDCPA says that when a debt collector is asking you to pay a debt, you have the right to dispute that debt if you think the amount is wrong or that the debt isn't yours. You don't have to pay a debt just because a debt collector says so. You only have to pay debts that you actually owe. And because of this, the debt collector has to provide instructions that tell you how to dispute the debt when they send you a written notice. You can learn more about this written notice, often called the debt validation letter, in this video. Next up, the FDCPA says that you have the right to ask debt collectors for more information before you pay by sending them a debt verification letter. You can ask them for further information about the debt in this letter. Sending a debt verification letter can help you avoid being scammed by a debt collector. It can also buy you some more time to pay the debt if you think that it's legit. Once a debt collector receives your debt verification letter, they have to stop all collection activities until they respond to it. So these are the rights that the FDCPA gives you in terms of how you have to deal with paying the debt. Let's talk a little bit about what the rules and regulations are for how a debt collector can actually talk to you. Under the FDCPA, you have a right to limit how debt collectors contact you. This means you can tell them exactly when to contact you. For example, you can tell them never to contact you at work or during dinner time. You can also tell them how to contact you. For example, that you only want to receive written communications and don't want them to call you at all. The FDCPA also says that you can tell debt collectors to stop contacting you altogether. You have to typically do this in writing through what's called a cease and desist letter. Once they receive your request, the debt collector can only contact you to tell you that they're going to stop contacting you or about a specific action, such as filing a lawsuit against you. Although it's your right to stop all contact from the debt collector, it's important to know that that doesn't make the debt go away and it doesn't prevent the debt collector from suing you. If you do choose to deal with the debt by communicating with the debt collector, don't worry. The FDCPA also gives you protections there. For example, debt collectors aren't allowed to harass you. This means that they can't threaten violence or use obscene language when they communicate with you. They also can't make tons of repeated calls just to annoy you. If they do, they violated your rights under the FDCPA, and you might be able to take action against them. Debt collectors aren't allowed to lie to you. This means that they can't misrepresent the amount that you owe, falsely claim to be an attorney, or threaten legal action that they don't intend to take. Finally, it's important to know that when you're communicating with a debt collector, you have a right to privacy. Debt collectors may contact your friends, family, or your employer to figure out how to get in touch with you, but they can't reveal any information about your debt to anyone other than you, your spouse, or your attorney if you have one. Okay, so now you know your rights under the FDCPA, but what should you do if a debt collector violates the law while they're contacting you about a debt? To help protect your rights during the debt collection process, it's important to document everything. Keep detailed records of all of your communication with the debt collector, including the date, time, and content of that interaction. Save all voicemails, emails, or letters they send to you. This information can be incredibly helpful if you decide to file a complaint or take legal action against the debt collector. And if you feel comfortable, tell the debt collector if they're violating the law. Let them know that you're aware of your rights under the FDCPA and that their actions are illegal. Sometimes just demonstrating that you know this can make a huge difference. If a debt collector continues to harass you, you can send them a cease and desist letter that tells them to only contact you through the mail so that you always have a record of what was said. Then, consider filing a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB for short. Include all the information you've gathered about your interactions with the debt collector when you file that complaint. Doing this can help bring the collector's illegal actions to light and maybe even prevent them from harassing other people. If the debt collector keeps harassing you even after you file a CFPB complaint, you can consider talking to a consumer rights attorney. They can help you see if you might be able to sue the debt collector for their actions. If you sue and win, you can get up to $1,000 in what's called statutory damages, plus any actual damages that you experience, plus your attorney's fees. So there you go. Now you know some crucial information about your rights during the debt collection process. If you want some help figuring out how to get out of debt, take our quick screener to see if you qualify to use our free tools. And if you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. It only takes a second and it helps other people find us so that they can get out of debt too. Thanks for watching.